how many people in your life do you have who you allow to challenge the way you think? Think about that. Like, that's a question that I'm asking myself. I'm like, how many people do I intentionally have in my life that I allow to challenge what I think? Now, it's people who try to challenge what I think that I ain't give no allowance to. So me and you gonna go back and forth, right? But I really had to question, like, how many people do I have like that in my life? You know what I'm saying? And so when we were talking about it, I thought about my childhood. I thought about some of the things that maybe my grandparents or maybe my parents had going on in their world. And I don't know the answer to that, but I know that I need people in my world to challenge my thought process, because I'm not the end all be all, and I can always learn. You know what I'm saying? So
that's crazy, bro. I was just telling somebody the other day, a close person to me. I looked at them, a person that I love, and I said, you know what? You know what your problem may be? There's nobody in your peer group, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. There's nobody that you allow, just like you saying, bro. It's so important that you said what you said. There's nobody that you allow to challenge how you think and to hold your feet to the fire while you're quiet and you listen and take it in. She said, wait, no. My parents used to do that for me. I said, nah, it's a little different. I'm talking once you become an adult, you should have a peer group, because if your grandma tell you something, that's going to be beneficial. But if your homeboy who been around you for 25 years, who you know and love and respect, tell you something, it may hit a little bit different, but the truth has to, you have to be willing to get that truth. And I always tell people, Dwight, relationships ain't nothing but a mirror. If you really, really, really love the person, it's just a mirror. And a lot of the people around me, shout out to my brother Zoe Williams. He said that about 7 years ago on his show, and it shook my world. Because at the time, my mirror was cloudy. Like, I was looking at my mirror and I ain't like what I saw, so I blamed her. I ain't like what I saw, so I blame my son. I blame my baby mama, because they was showing me a mirror, and I was like, nah, put that down. I don't want to see that, dude. You know what I mean? So I think people be running from relationships, because if the woman love you, sometimes our homeboys can tell us something like, man, you need to do this, you need to do that. Man, ain't nothing that can cut you like a woman.
Come on.
Oh, because she see it.
Come on.
All the time she see it. Go ahead.
And on the same note, I just told somebody this yesterday. Just like she can cut you, she can also heal you. Also heal you. I told my bro yesterday, I said, man, I used to be so frustrated with my wife, like in all the time that I've known her, because I would say that she's a pessimistic person, right? But she likes to call herself a realist. And me, I'm super optimistic, right? I'm optimistic, but she'll be like, no, I'm a realist. I'm like, yeah, whatever, pessimistic, realist, whatever you want to call it. And it used to bring a lot of contention in our relationship. And I literally just had this light bulb moment, and I was like, oh, shoot. I've been thinking about identifying people who I allow to challenge my thought process, and I didn't have the person in my world this whole time. I just been fighting her. I have not been allowing her. I actually been pushing away from her to do it. And so, bro, when that light bulb came on for me, I got turned up and fired up, because I was like, oh, I got the #1 best person. I don't even have to pay this person. I ain't got to go out and pay for no coach.
Want to hear it or not.
You feel me? I got this person who lives in-house with me. And so it was also a change of perspective, right? So the old me would have said, it cuts me. The new me says, no, that actually heals me. That actually makes me better. That actually makes me my best, because my thought process does need to be challenged.
And men, because this is a specific thing though, Dwight, I think, because there has to be a level of love and respect and comfort with this woman.
Facts.
Because if those things are in play, it just cuts a little more when she keep it real with you. Because my woman can make me feel like Heman or Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
And sometimes she's right in both instances.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's
real.
something like, as men, black men especially, bro, I don't have many models of possibility around me when it comes to healthy two-parent relationships. So sometimes I just look at my situation, people around me, and I say, man, I see why men give up on this. Not that I want to do it, but this takes a lot of personal work in evolving the right way if I'm going to be with the right person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It takes a lot of personal work, and it also takes a lot of intentionality. Like,
Intentionality.
bruh, my wife and I are so intentional
Hmm.
now when it comes to communicating. We literally laugh at each other because we like all the stuff that used to rub us the wrong way or push us in the wrong direction or cause us to argue or fight and all that. It was literally a lack of effective communication.
Hmm.
All of it. Because she might say something that back then I would have said would have cut me. But my response, if my response would have been more effective, I would have been like, man, I heard what you said. You know, I could see where you're coming from. That actually makes me feel a certain way, though, when you say it.
Hmm.
Now we can talk about how I feel when she says something. I'm not getting defensive and going, you always doing that. You always talking that. That's why I ain't even trying to be. But that used to be the old me. But if I learn how to communicate effectively and share how I feel and not put the blame on her, right? We as men sometimes make too many like you statements. You did this to me. You made me. We got to start really taking it into ourselves. One, seeing if we're at fault or where we're at fault. But even if we're not, let's share with people how we feel. And a lot of men don't like to share how they feel, especially when it comes to talking with women, but I'm also seeing it with men as well. And so effective communication, bro, has literally changed our relationship. You know what I mean? I've told you before, the people who rocked with us last time, they know we got married in 08, got separated in 13, got divorced in 14, and got remarried in 16. You dig what I'm saying? And now we on round 2, year 6. And so we've been through it. And we can see that effective communication and empathy are the things that brought us back together and now make us even stronger. So communication is necessary, bro.
You know what? And actually, one thing I would say about that I didn't say to you last time, Dwight, congratulations for fighting for your family, brother.
Appreciate that.
Congratulations for fighting for, because, man, the easy way out in America is almost the best way, man. Like most people just find it easy because you had to, I know, going back to your woman, figured it out. You ain't even got to tell me. I know you had to work on yourself. You had to say, wait a minute, what did I do to put this woman in a state of mind where she viewed me like this? Did I do it? And when you find out you did it, it hurt.
Yeah.
Damn, I ain't all I thought I ain't all I, but that's the process. You see what I'm saying? So I salute you for that because you, like we were saying, you watched at 5 him make beats and bust rhymes in a booth. Your son's just watching you.
Facts.
See?
Facts, bro. Facts. And that's one of the things that I share with anyone that I'm working with, anyone that I'm coaching, especially young people, though, is the majority of the things that we go through, I like to say grow through, are less about us and less for us. It's more for those who are coming after us. And so making sure that my sons specifically got to see me grow through this process and me really do the thing that I tell them, which is accept personal responsibility. Stop making excuses. Stop doing the blame game. Like, accept personal responsibility for every single one of your actions, all of your words, and then go from there. So then being able to see me grow through this process. And then my daughter, right? My daughter being able to see me ask my wife to forgive me. My daughter being able to see me, be very humble and learn and grow and not be the superhero that I wanted my daughter to see me, but understand that, baby girl, I'm really just a guide. I'm a flawed man. I'm imperfect. I wanted you to see this Mr. Perfection, but Mr. Perfection got me separated and divorced from your mother because I was trying to be something for everybody else and wasn't being the right thing for her. And so now I'm about to show you this second time around. I'm about to show you a human being that's not focused on perfection, but I'm focused on progression. I'm just trying to be a better version of me every moment, second, minute, hour of every single day that I'm alive, bro.
You know what I mean? Because I forgot who I heard say this. Maybe T.I., because prominent like quotes stick out in my head. Everybody speaks about role models, which the framing of that word isn't even correct. We need a real model. I don't need you playing a role of what I want to see. That's actually gonna do more worse than good. I need to see you make mistakes. I need to see you do things incorrectly, and how do you handle it after you do it incorrectly. I'm like, oh, that's that dude, right? Will Smith. I'm not gonna talk much about this. It's been beaten to the ground. My brother, a part of my brother, because that's still my brother. All this bad talk about this man, I love that man. He's done great things before the slap and after the slap. I mean, that's none of my business. He had a moment, right? But he I think suffered from role model status. Everything perfect. Everything you see from me is flawless. Don't do that. Don't do that, because when America now, we see a little crack in that, we're going to attack it. When in actuality, the brother, people just be doing what they think they supposed to do, and sometimes you better do what you feel. You know what I mean?
And you said something real, pun intended. And I mean, you know, and I don't know how many of your listeners remember or know. So I got my Real Manhood 101. That's where I work with the young boys, right? Juvenile hall, schools, all over the country, but specifically, we do a lot of stuff out here in Northern California. And you saying real model, that's something that we really tap into. And the real in Real Manhood, and the real and real model stands for reject passivity. That means stop being passive. Start being intentional about what you're doing and make best decisions. The E is expect the greater reward, right? There's a greater reward for the work and the time that we're putting into something of value. The A is accept responsibility. I already talked about that. And the L is lead courageously. And I tell my young men, like I tell the men that I work with, even if you don't think that you're leading anybody else, the most important person you can lead every single day is yourself. And so if we just model under that framework, right, of real instead of role, because role, that's acting. we got to be facts, right? We got to be real, because people need the authenticity from us. They need the most authentic version of who we are. You dig what I'm saying? And so, man, you talking good, bro. Like, we need real models out here.
We need real models, and everything always seems like it's in chaos. Like, if you pay attention to the world, depending on your perspective, being Black, I'm not going to act like that doesn't factor into a lot of the feelings I have towards things. It looks hopeless at times, just looking at the framework of, because the people in charge, right? The people in charge of America, you pick the country or continent, these are just flawed individuals, man. And when we see the flaw, we say, I can't respect you. You're no good for me, which some of that could be true, but I'm doing my best, Dwight, to step back and say, okay, let me just look at the men. Like, let me look at the man. Let me be as empathetic as possible, find out all the facts. Then I may have to go in.
Come on.
You see?
Yeah.
Then I may have to go in, because we do need to speak truth to power, but giving people empathy and realizing that they're flawed and that they make mistakes before you attack them or before you give your factual opinion. That's what I like to say nowadays. People, I'm like, damn, that sounded like your opinion, but it sounded like a factual opinion. I think you kind of got them mixed up a little bit. It was like too much of you inside of the, you know what I mean? So we need to be careful, bro. That's why I wanted to make sure I had you on the show, and we're going to do this periodically, brother, because communicating sounds easy,
bruh,
but it's so much to it, right?
Bro, it's someone asked me the other day, I was on another podcast, and the person asked me, what are some of the biggest mistakes or biggest misconceptions about communication? And I was like, that it's easy. Most people just assume that communication is easy because they believe that they're doing it at a high level, right? People are feeling like, oh man, I communicate, so it's not a hard thing. Well, you might communicate, but you might not be communicating effectively. Like, there's a difference. It's a difference between doing something ineffectively and doing something effectively. And so one of the things that I share as in one of the biggest mistakes is understanding that communication is actually complex, bro. It's like, it's so complex, but at the same time, it's doable. Like, if you want to effectively communicate at a high level, it is complex, but it's doable. And like this, I could say something to you right now. Depending on your background, depending on the filter and how you just interpreted what I just said, depending on what mood you in, depending on what you actually believe about what I just said, will determine how you react or respond to me. The crazy thing is, I can say the same thing to you tomorrow, and if all of those 4 things that I just named are different tomorrow, you might react to me and respond in a different fashion. And so that alone just shows you the complexity of communication. But at the same time, it can be simple. And what I mean by that, if we ask more curious, creative, and quality questions, and like you said, be more empathetic and get more understanding from people, then we know how to best respond to them. And when we know how to respond to people, we actually know how to serve them better. Here's what I learned. People want to be understood and they want to understand. That's life. You talking to me, you talking to your listeners, you talking to your family, you want to be understood. Like what you say and what you share, you want them to understand that. And you also, right, want to understand where people are coming from so you can get a better view and a better vantage point. So if we want to be understood and we want to understand, one of the best ways to do it is by closing our mouth and opening our ears. Let's just start listening more. Let's start listening with our eyes as well. Let's start observing more, right? I can literally tell a lot about a person less from what they say and more about what they do. So if I got my